So can you tell me about that new album? Can you tell me about the kind of music that's on it? Or that is going to be on it, rather?
Yeah, it's still blues rock. I call it blues rock. I'm not really sure if that's the best term yet, but it's blues-rooted music. We have sax player, keys, bass, drums, and me on guitar. Three-part vocals. Like I said, we're not playing that much right now, but we do have 2 dates on May 7th and 8th, opening for Francine Reed at the Atlanta History Center. I think that will be sort of the debut of the new songs. We've played about 5 of them at our last show, which was New Year's Eve at the Crimson Moon in Dahlonega. And they all went over really well, so I'm definitely looking forward to those dates in May. We're going to sort of just break out all the new material. How does it compare to our past stuff? It's similar, but it's just a little bit of a bigger sound with the horns. I've been playing with the sax player for about a year now in my group, and I really think that it adds an interesting texture to the songs. So.
Well, you seem to be able to play several different instruments. Do you have a favorite, and does maybe that favoritism affect how you play the instrument or any of the other instruments?
Yeah, I definitely favor the guitar. I love the piano. I play trombone. I love that too. I recently started fiddling around with the mandolin and for one of the songs with Connor's band, and I like it. I mean, I just like music. So I have a feeling that no matter what instrument I'm playing, I'm going to enjoy it. I really love the organ. I've sort of had a new appreciation for that recently because I've been playing it so much. But guitar is definitely my number one. I actually taught myself to play. I fell in love with it so much that when I first picked it up, I just couldn't put it down. And I used to come home from school, I remember, and I get home around 3:30 and I'd be playing until like 11 o'clock at night in my room, just trying to do everything. And I guess it affects I'm not really sure if it affects how I play the guitar, but I think the music that I prefer affects how I play it. But my passion for the guitar definitely affects the songs that I write. All the songs on my first album I actually wrote on the piano, but played them on the guitar. And I just sort of, I don't know, sometimes I'll write a song on the guitar and play it on the piano, but generally I really think about the guitar when I'm writing. And I think that's sort of something you have to do as a songwriter. If you know who's going to be performing that song, what band, what their lineup is, you have to write it what is that singer's, where is their range, what key works for them, what sort of arrangement do I want to do with the instruments. And I think back to like Muddy Waters band when back in the days when you'd have like possibly 2 or 3 guitarists, and maybe one guy is doing one little hook, and then another guy's doing another hook, and another guy's doing something completely different. But together, the 3 of those parts make the song, instead of just one guy with a guitar strumming some chords. And I try to do that with the sax player doing one thing, and the piano player doing something else, and then me on the guitar doing something else. And together, you get the song, which actually comes to haunt me when I have to do a solo gig, which I've done once in a blue moon. I'll do a solo acoustic show somewhere, and I find myself having to play all 3 parts at the same time. So it's been fun.
So does your teaching yourself how to play guitar affect how you teach other people how to play?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I do teach, I have some private students. I started doing that about 2 years ago I've been teaching for about 7 years, but about 2 years ago I hooked up with this company based in Powder Springs, and basically they find me students whenever if there's a day of the week that I don't have a gig, like Monday or Tuesday night. I'm not usually playing on those nights. I might have a band rehearsal, and then I'll teach them lessons. And at first it was interesting because I'm trying to explain to these students of mine who are talented, how, why taking lessons and practicing and doing what I tell them is important, when the truth is, I taught myself by ear. But see, the difference is I have a really gifted ear. I know it might sound a little arrogant to say that, but it's true. And I also, when I picked up the guitar, I was already playing 2 other instruments, and I'd already been playing the piano for 8 years. So I really had a good understanding of music theory. I have a strong theory background. And most people that pick up the guitar, it's their first instrument. They don't have a theory background. They don't know how music works. And it's really, really hard for them to see things in the sort of the bigger picture. And that's what I try to take to my students, is explain to them, why this works, why this is important. And I really like seeing the light bulb go off. I have taught some classes in the past when I first got out of college. I started teaching a few classes here and there, and the group setting is nice, but it's not the same as the one-on-one connection that I get with my students. So definitely.
I can understand that. How do you feel about playing in Atlanta? Like the fans, the venues, etc.
The venues overall, honestly, I'm a little disappointed. Yeah, I've managed to find some really great clubs, so I think that Atlanta definitely has a great music scene. I think it's just hard to get to. And most of my friends and people that I talk to in my neighborhood and whatever have sort of shared that opinion with me, that, it's hard for them to really find, it may have taken them a while to find that place that they like to hang out. I think the suburbs of Atlanta actually have a better music scene than Atlanta itself. Like the city of Atlanta, most of the clubs down there, I think you find a lot of cover bands, you find a lot of restaurants that have live music. You don't really find that many true venues. There's Phillips Arena. There's the Roxy and the Variety Playhouse. I think one of those actually went out of business, or that's what I heard anyway. It's been a while since I was down there. But I like Smithsville Bar. I think Smithsville Bar is one of the best places. Generally, whenever you go there, you're going to find good bands, even if you've never heard of them. You don't even really have to look at the calendar. You can just sort of show up, and chances are you're going to have a great time. I've mentioned the Crimson Moon in Dahlonega. It's about an hour away from Atlanta, but so is Jonesboro. People go there for stuff. I think that the Crimson Moon is one of the best places. They've had a lot of really great acts up there. I really loved Fuzzy's place when it was open. I thought it was an awesome place, especially for blues music. Zuffy's is sort of the reincarnation of that, and I know that they're trying really hard to sort of survive the memory of Fuzzy's, but I don't know. It's just sort of a different place. The building has glass walls, and it's just not the right vibe. It's not the same vibe. So I don't really go there too often. Northside Tavern is a really cool place for blues, really great blues venue. And, that's really it. That's my top list. I've never really been a big fan of the Masquerade, just because the acoustics of that building, even though sometimes you'll have some great bands there, but the acoustics of that building are just, it's so echoey and reverby. I've never liked performing there. I've seen a lot of my friends play there as a fan of their bands, and just not my favorite. And as far as the Buckhead area goes, which I guess is considered Atlanta, I've seen some great bands at Peachtree Tavern, but overall I'd have to say, just too many cover bands, not enough original music. It's too much of the bar scene, and there's a place for that. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really what I do.